Wherever you may be, however you may be listening, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Cardinals on SI podcast. My name is Donnie Drew, joined live from the Studio 55 here in wonderful Peoria, Arizona. Joined every week by my main dude, Richie Bradshaw. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, go to comment, like, subscribe to the channel. Training camp is next week. We're trying to hit 2,000 subs. All the support is very much appreciated. Follow Richie on Twitter at RichieBrads36. Follow me on Twitter at Donnie Drew. And Richie, we are going over mailbag questions today, a pre-training camp mailbag. Football season is literally right around the corner. I am amped. I'm sipping on an energy drink to try to get me going. Wonderful product placement, even though we are not getting paid. But this is our good friend of the podcast, Austin Frizzelko's favorite one, so I figured I would honor him this morning. How are you, brother?
I'm doing good. In the comments, what am I drinking? Give you one hint. It is not Dr. Pepper. And another hint, it's not alcoholic, you freaks.
Yeah.
Like, even I'm not having a drink at 9 in the morning on a work day.
5 o'clock somewhere.
It is 5 o'clock somewhere, but that's okay. Donnie, I am doing good, my friend. I'm even better knowing how close we are to football season. We are right around the corner from training camp for the NFL. The preseason starts next week, I'm pretty sure, right? The Hall of Fame game, or is that 2 weeks? I think it's 2 weeks.
It might be 2 weeks. It might be 2 weeks.
You know, it is 2 weeks, yeah. And then college football is going to be here in just over a month. And Donnie,
we have a college football podcast host in this podcast, don't we?
Oh, we do? Oh, shoot. Oh, is that me?
I think so.
Locked On Sun Devils. By the way, we're also chasing 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. So do us both a favor and just hit that subscribe button. But Donnie, I'll tell you what, this is the best time of the year. And real quick, PSA before we get started, don't do fall weddings. Just don't do it. You've got 8 months of the year to get married. And it should not be. The 4 months are September, October, November, December. It's cool outside. It's cool in February too.
It is cool.
Just don't do it.
Yeah, and in terms of people on this podcast, we are 0 for 1 whenever it comes to fall weddings. So it's a 0% hit rate. So maybe people can follow our the stereo.
Well, at least no one went to it. Am I right?
Yeah. Oh man, we are having such a great time on this Friday.
We are laughing.
Football season is here, man. We put out a mailbag for the wonderful people on the internet to ask us some questions before we speak French. I put out a mailbag question on our YouTube page and on my personal Twitter page for us to answer a few. We got 7 in total. Let's get into them, my man. As soon as I can find the screen sharing thing on here, it'd be wonderful. I'm curious to see what people think you're sipping on, by the way. Like, I'm genuinely...
You gotta drop a comment and let me know.
But all right, the first question is going to come... Let's make that a little better right there from our YouTube page. Why is this all like crowded like that? There we go. The Dice Kids 2036 asking about the middle linebacker battle.
He forgot the question mark.
Assuming he's just asking who's going to win it and put themselves on top. Obviously, if they're running their base defense, Mac Wilson.
One spot is locked down. Yep.
Yes. Mac Wilson Sr., no doubts about him whatsoever. I think he's a good candidate to get the green dot and call
green dot
for Nick Rallis this year. Opposite of him, there's really only 2 names. Akeem Davis-Gaither is the free agent signing they got this past offseason. He had limited run in Cincinnati. He wasn't terrible, but he also wasn't overly impressive. But I do want to circle back on that point here in a moment. So yeah,
he's a special teams guy.
Yep, and then you have 4th round pick Cody Simon. So we'll talk about Simon here in a bit. But Akeem Davis-Gaither, Richie, he played a decent amount of snaps, but he doesn't have a ton of starting experience. But that is a theme, I feel like, for the Cardinals with Jonathan Gannon and with Monty Ossenfort, to where they'll take guys who maybe weren't like premium starters somewhere and then bring them along and then kind of flip them. Yadi Furholt is being one. Evan Brown was a starter in Seattle, so I don't want to like throw him in there. Mac Wilson for the Patriots, at least starting at like one position. I'm not super confident in Davis-Gaither, Richie. he is what he is at this moment. But also, I'm not super thrilled about potentially throwing a day 3 pick out there as a day 1 starter. If you're asking me to do predictions right now for week 1, I do think it's Akeem Davis-Gaither and Mac Wilson as a starting inside linebacker duo. But I think if any guy has like a very clear path to being a starter as a rookie, it's Cody Simon. And I think I would not be surprised at all. And I do think this is a very real possibility that at some point in the 2025 regular season, Simon's going to emerge as a starter.
That won't surprise me because Cody Simon proved last year at Ohio State that he is a little bit of Mr. Do-It-All. And there are areas that he can polish for sure. But, I mean, he is a willing run defender. He is a plus coverage guy. He's not an elite coverage guy, but the skill is there. We've seen it. That's probably his biggest area to work on. He can rush a passer. He's a good tackler in space. Like, there's a lot of good stuff to work with Cody Simon. But I do agree with you that I'm not trying to rush a day 3 pick out there. And that stuff is subjective because there's day 3 picks who play better than day 1 picks. But
that is true.
They are going to take their time developing him. And I think that's the right thing to do. Davis-Gaither makes the most sense, even though he is much more of a special teams guy with not a ton of starting experience. In fact, I don't know how many games he started in his career, but he's solid. He's good enough for a defense that really has mitigated the linebacker position. I mean, they don't place a ton of value in it because Kaiser White is still out there in free agency. They have not brought him back, and I don't think he's coming back at this point, unfortunately. But they are good with adequate play as long as the rest of the defense is stepping up. And that's the position that they've placed themselves in, is they have bulked up their edge rushing room. They have severely bulked up their defensive line, and the secondary is stacked. So if the linebacking room is the weakness on defense compared to the other positions, that's kind of where Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis want to be at. But I've beat this drum plenty of times, and to the dismay of you. And you're at practices, so you get a better view than I do of the players. But I'm very curious if this is the year that Owen Papo can find the field, because it's a wide open opportunity for any linebacker out there. He's in year 3 in the same defense. He's talented. He's beyond athletic, but we still haven't seen him out much there this year. To me, Donnie, I haven't seen him, but what I can say fairly is if there's a chance to get on the field, this is the year for him to get on the field.
That's very fair, because Kaiser White had that other spot locked down. It's the moment he stepped into the desert. White did a lot of things on the field. He did a lot of things off the field. And like he's going to be missed. I do think the Cardinals wanted to cut bait and move on and maybe try to find somebody who might have been a little bit better in pass coverage as an interior linebacker. Just with what they've done with a guy like Akeem Davis-Gaither and Cody Simon being the top 2 additions to that room. To your point, Richie, Davis-Gaither he's played the last 3 years. It'll be 16 games, 13 games, and 17 games last year. He's only started 9 games throughout the last 3 years. And then to your point about special team snaps, he did play, 68% of special team snaps last year. And then the year before he played 80. So that's kind of where he's gotten to cut his chops on that side of the ball. Are you going to trust him to emerge as a full-time starter when he just hasn't been that previously? And
right.
like I said earlier, the Cardinals have done that before. I don't think they are shy about it. I think they trust their scouting process. And really, to me, I'm really interested because, like you said, this is a wide open competition. Owen Papo can step up. Akeem Davis-Gaither can step up. Mykal Walker, I believe is his name, the other inside linebacker they signed in free agency. He can potentially step up. Cody Simon can step up. It's so interesting. Also, I do want to point out, because I was watching Dadrian Taylor Demerson film from last year, and they lined him up a lot at that like nickel linebacker position next
Dare
to
I say
Wilson.
Deion Buchanan?
Maybe they're not
and
going
the money
to turn
backer back.
They're not going to turn Taylor Demerson into a full-time linebacker. but
Or should
they
they?
did play him at that nickel linebacker spot next to Mac Wilson a lot last year. Was that to cover for Kaiser White's lack of defensive prowess covering the pass? Maybe, but I do think that might be an underrated option. And like we've talked about so many times, Richie, like nickel's kind of the new base defense, just because
Yeah.
with NFL teams running 11 personnel so much. So, official prediction for week 1, who do you have?
Mac and Davis Gator. I'm not going to try and reinvent the wheel here.
I'm right there with you, brother. We'll see how that pans out. I don't think Akeem's going to be bad, but like his resume leading into training camp, it's kind of wait and see mode. I think for everybody. So
yeah,
moving on to our Twitter mailbag that we had gotten. Shout out to everybody for questions. We will get started with our dude Brian, friend of the podcast, Brian A. Richie, you wearing your shirt today or no?
No, I got a fresh shirt on. Sorry, Bri.
Love it. Love it. Brian asked, name 1 or 2 starters on each side of the ball that has a chance to lose their jobs in camp. Kyler Murray. Definitely kidding. Can you imagine?
Jonah Williams.
Can you imagine the headlines? Jacoby Brissett looks so good that they have to bench Kyler. That would be
per SI Cardinals putting that out there.
Yeah.
That sounds like some Richie Bradshaw clickbait right there. Jonah Williams is where I'm going to start.
Ooh, okay. Okay, you think, because I know you're a big Kelvin Beachum guy, do you think that can happen in training camp?
I do. And I think one of the biggest things that could happen is he just doesn't look himself, because I don't like predicting injuries more often than not. There are certain instances where guys are just flat out injury prone, and Jonah Williams is injury prone. I'm not predicting an injury, but what I am saying is he has potentially suffered so many setbacks that it's just at a point where he is no longer capable of playing at the level that he previously was. And he was a plus starter at one point in time, but there is a chance that he's just not that guy anymore. And there's a chance that the Cardinals could be ready to move on and set up their best possible lineup. I am talking right now on the website, if you follow my content, about whether you should roll with the veterans on the team or roll with the youngsters on the team. And I don't know if Jonah Williams is the way that I want to go. Kelvin Beachum may be that way for 1 year, or maybe you want to go all in and throw Christian Jones out there. I don't know, but what I do know is I'm not totally trusting Jonah Williams right now, and his job should be anything but secure. In fact, of anyone on the offensive line who seemingly has a spot locked up, so I'm not including Isaiah Adams at right guard because we don't know if he's going to be starting for sure. But right now, everyone feels good about Jonah Williams starting. Of anyone on the offensive line, I think Jonah Williams' job at right tackle is the most up for grabs.
That's fair. And like Beachum played very well last year, and
Sure
really
did.
for Williams. And then like we talked about, like Williams did have the season-ending injury. I can't remember if it was the same knee that he re-injured whenever he tried to come back, but he did land on injury reserve again for a second time. But like you said, like you look at like the left side of the line, Paris Johnson Jr. and Evan Brown have that side of the line locked up. Yaldi Froholt is a pretty damn good center. I feel like he's really come turned around. He's one of those guys, Richie, to where like he didn't start a lot of games. The Cardinals signed him, turned him into a starter, and then he ended up being pretty solid. Right guard, like you just with the depth behind him, like I feel pretty good about Isaiah Adams starting. At least him locking that up. Obviously, his play is yet to be determined, but yeah, I would. That wouldn't be the most shocking thing, but God, are you going to pay a guy $15 million a year to sit on the bench? But counterpoint, you just need to throw out the best starting 5, and if that starting 5 includes Kelvin Beachum, then it includes Kelvin Beachum. And I don't think Jonathan Gannon is the kind of guy to really give a you know what about payroll. If my right tackle is better as a backup than a starter, then that's what it needs to be.
Well, look at Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols. The Cardinals are not going to force themselves to get them on the field just because they gave both of them $30 million last year.
Yeah, that's extremely well said. I'll jump to the defensive side of the ball for you. Underrated really quick on offense. Maybe Zay Jones can usurp Greg Dortch as a starting slot receiver? I know everybody's
Man,
kind of
who has been
getting
talking
into
about that? God, I feel like
Maybe.
someone has been really insistent and
I'm
borderline
not
annoying
sipping the
about it.
Kool-Aid yet. I'm not sipping that Kool-Aid yet. I'm just throwing that out there as a maybe. Defensively, my man, it depends
Is
on
this
how you look
Kool-Aid?
at it.
I don't know. Drop a comment.
Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. It depends on how you look at the defensive side of the ball. Because if you view Zaven Collins as the starting outside linebacker opposite of Josh Sweat, I think it's easily him. Easily.
Yeah.
It's partly because the other starting spots are seemingly set to where like there's really not a good chance for a starter to like lose their job. So I'm looking at Zaven Collins, and like the run support has been phenomenal, but that's not why edge rushers get paid. That's not what you bring an edge rusher here to do. He's big, he's athletic, he's extremely smart, but he just for whatever reason cannot consistently get to the passer. I think one of Baron Browning or BJ Ojulari has a phenomenal shot to really show improve what they've got. Maybe even Jordan Birch, third round pick, to really flex their muscles and prove themselves as like the second best pass rusher under Josh Sweat. And in training camp, like it's going to be just like inside linebacker. It's going to be a very open competition opposite of Sweaty J.
Yeah. So the thing I look at with the defense is who has a starting spot for sure right now? Buda Baker, Garrett Williams,
Jalen Thompson.
probably. But I mean, I feel like Dadrian could beat him out. I feel like those are the only
Dadrian's
two
good.
spots.
Are
Josh
we
Sweat.
underrating Jalen Thompson?
No. Dude, big Jalen Thompson guy. I
Yeah.
was very much against the conversation that they should cut him. So you're not finding me in that argument. But those two, Josh Sweat, I don't know who else has a guaranteed spot because Mac Wilson feels good. There's a chance he gets beat out. We don't know what the defensive line looks like. We have a good gut feeling about it. We don't know who the starting outside corners are. Like we have gut feelings about these things, but that's kind of my problem right now as I'm running into like who could be benched. I think I would go to the defensive line and I would say that maybe Calais isn't guaranteed to start.
Okay.
I could see Dalvin Tomlinson and Walter Nolan be your week one starters and have Calais coming in as a rotational guy. I could see Tomlinson as the guy to be usurped of the starting spot. It just right now, Donnie, we don't really know what the starting spots look like, which is where I think it's hard to answer this question because the guys I'm thinking of, Buda Baker, Josh Sweat, and Garrett Williams, no one is taking their spots. No one. Those are cemented. Jalen Thompson, Mac Wilson, that's tattooed. Like you feel really, really good about that. You could laser it off, but you feel like you're pretty committed to it. Other than that, I feel like just about every spot is open, but I'd probably go to the defensive line and I would tell you one of the veterans between Tomlinson and Campbell could lose their job to Walter Nolan or maybe Justin Jones or Bilal Nichols, provided they make the team. So I don't know. We'll wait and see. We can't forget about
Like
Dante
we've talked
Stills.
about, man,
So
and we've talked about this at nauseum. It feels like they rotate their defensive line so much and so heavily, man. Like
right,
that starter
starting as a
tag,
novelty.
right, right. Because like even if Calais Campbell isn't the week one starter, like he's not the first player on the field for the first snap, he's gonna play a significant amount of snaps. Same with Tomlinson, same with Nolan, same with Robinson, same with pretty much like everybody in that room. Like it really is like a group effort whenever it comes to the defensive line. So I
Right.
think putting it as a novelty is such like a great way to frame it.
Right. And I mean, to put it in one way, so resident Raven fan, Mark Andrews, his breakout year 2019, where he scores 10 touchdowns, 800 yards, all that good stuff. How many games did he start? 16 games back then. How many did he start?
Was it a whopping 0?
I think it was 3
Okay.
because Nick Boyle would start, but Nick
Boyle,
Boyle
what a guy.
was tight end too. Right. It's not about starts. It's about field time. Calais could get the start. He may be playing 30% of the snaps. It's important to remember that your starters are who you submit on paper and who is on the field for the first snap of the game. Resident ASU fan, fun fact, Jalen Conyers, 2023 against U of A, started at quarterback because the first snap of the game was a direct snap to him. So he got a start at quarterback that year.
That's pretty sick. I would put that on every resume known the man. He went to Texas Tech, didn't he?
He did, and he's somewhere in the league. No,
Yeah,
he went undrafted.
No, okay.
I'm gonna have to
but
look it up.
He's in the league. I do know for sure he's somewhere in the league.
He's someone I'm rooting for. Miami. I like that spot for him. Good for him.
Cool.
And he's wearing number 47, which kind of fits because he's just such a joker, awkward. I don't know where to put him, but I know that I'm going to get something out of him kind of guy. So I'm rooting for him. I hope Sun Devil fans are too. But, this isn't locked on Sun Devils.
AZ Sports fan, which I'm actually hopping on his podcast almost directly after we are recording this one. Biggest under the radar name in training camp to look out for. Under the radar, you can see Brian in the comment after picks a good one, Xavier Weaver. We've already kind of touched on a guy like Cody Simon. If we're going under the radar, man,
Elijah Jones.
Dude, people forget about Elijah Jones so much.
They do.
Third round pick last year, battled injury. And they've added constant talent into that room, but he's a pretty decently sized guy, and they really liked what he did at Boston College.
Yeah, I'm not ruling him out at all. And he's a typical Monty Awesomport guy. He played a long time at Boston College. He had a lot of starts. He was good academically. He had production. They have him on this team. There's an opportunity to earn not just a starting spot at corner, but just a heavy part right now because Garrett Williams locking up nickel, but Sean Murphy Bunting is gone, which leaves a spot open. And I always want to say Starling Marte, man. Starling Thomas and Max Melton were two of the three guys outside that got rotated in a lot. That third spot is up for grabs with Will Johnson seemingly being the favorite, but Elijah Jones could sneak his way in there. Catrell Clark could find his way. We could see Denzel Burke. There's all sorts of Jalen Jones got signed in free agency, but I think Elijah Jones is definitely someone to keep an eye on. I think when preseason rolls around, he's going to be someone that we highlight pretty consistently as he stands out. We may see him take Will Johnson's spot that we've granted him, kind of thing. So we'll wait and see. So side note, Cardinals really do like getting their super talented corners that are coming off injuries, huh? Garrett Williams, Elijah Jones, Will Johnson. I mean, they nailed it.
I don't want to give us too much credit, Richie, but I think we were maybe the loudest on the Garrett Williams drum whenever they first took him.
I loved that pick. That was an A+ for me.
He came back the tail end of the year, and I remember recording with you, and we were like, look, he can hoop. This dude can hoop if he stays healthy, which he has.
And then last year, he was best nickel in the league that you weren't talking about.
Literally.
And I think he ends this year as the best nickel in the league. I'm sticking with Elijah Jones for my answer.
Okay. Really quick, I do think Garrett Williams gets a hefty payday next offseason, so that'll be really cool for him.
Deservedly so. Yeah, and you lock him up before some other guys get in there. Hit me.
Yes.
Is it a Clayton Kershaw curveball? Because I'm not hitting that.
No. Maybe it's gonna be Quez Watkins. The Cardinals need a speed guy who can take the top off the defense, as we've talked about so much and so often.
Dude, someone on this podcast has been obnoxious about it for sure.
Dude, crazy! I can't believe you would do that, Richie. I just think that Watkins is not going to push for a starting job whatsoever, but they do need that guy who, if they need a deep shot, they can throw him on the field. Watkins didn't play at all last year, but 4.3 speed, he has that familiarity with Gannon thanks to their time in Philly. There's signs there that make sense for him to at least get a shot. We'll see what he can do. Obviously, there's a reason he was a free agent, so it's not like he's just diamond in the rough that nobody in the league has discovered yet. But if we're looking at under the radar camp names, Watkins I think might be a good one too. So great question.
I think that is a good one.
Friend of the podcast, Logan Bell. Where does MHJ rank among the sophomore receivers heading to 2025, and where can we expect him to finish? I think that depends on how you quantify it, because like stat and production wise, obviously he's going to be behind guys like Neighbors, Thomas,
In no
McConkey.
order: Neighbors, Thomas, McConkey. Wasn't there a fourth 1,000-yard receiver? Not
There might
Brock
have been.
Bowers. I don't know. I need to see that first round, because it felt like every receiver in the first round hit except, quotes, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Xavier Worthy is a talented dude. Ricky Pearsall is talented when he's not dodging bullets. Roma Dunze was a top 10 pick too.
And Dunze was solid.
But it's so tough because Marv is in an offense to where he's not even the number one passing threat. That title belongs to Trey McBride. And the Cardinals are one of the best and most efficient running the ball teams in the National Football League. So like passing the ball isn't even their first mode of play. And then you take all of that,
right,
mix it with the very little time on task that he had with Kyler Murray last year. And it was almost as if expectations were placed way too high on Marv, and he was destined to not hit those no matter what he did. Because you look at the numbers he put up production wise in 2024, and they were not bad at all. But
nope,
when your last name is Harrison, when you're the number 4 overall pick, you're expected to put up some gaudy numbers. And I think this podcast was very guilty of placing those expectations on him because of the name, because of the spotlight he had on him, because of the potential that he has. But it just didn't come to
generational,
fruition
and I will
last
not
year.
apologize for that.
Yep. So where he ranks heading to 2025, I would it's like, how do you quantify that?
Right.
If you're going off talent, going off
Mhm.
talent alone, where do you put him?
Talent's still number one. And I'm not backing off of that. I called him generational. I said it had nothing to do with his name. He's big, he's long, he's fast, he's strong. He's got everything you're looking for aesthetically, athletically. He's got all the tools to dominate on the field. I'm not backing down on him being the most talented receiver from last year's class.
Yeah.
But he does have a little bit of proving to do, especially compared to his classmates. So it really is, Donnie, just the LSU kids and Lad McConkey. I would tell you Harrison checks in at 4 behind those guys. And for Logan's question, where can we expect him to finish? I think he's safely inside that top 4. I think he could be number 1, but you're just looking for the things to start clicking. And some of that stuff, as we've called out many a times on this show, is going to be the play calling. And what we need the Cardinals to allow Harrison to do is start stacking defenders as a route runner and being able to establish himself that way. Because you know who Harrison reminds me of, if they allow him to do that, high praise, speaking of Logan Bell, CeeDee Lamb. Like, he's a lot faster than you think for someone who just kills you as a route runner. Like, I mean, CeeDee Lamb might be the best route runner in football, and he puts these guys on skates, and then, as you would expect, his run after catch is insane. I see the same thing for Marvin Harrison Jr. is the way that he can stretch the field, sure. But if you give him just a little drag route, maybe 5 yards down the field, or just have some kind of post 10, 15 yards down the field, he's going to be able to create separation. And after that, good luck tackling him. He's 6'4". He just bulks up too.
Yep.
I'm not backing down on David Boston just because I know it makes Cardinal fans mad. It's just funny to me. I'm sorry. I know it's not funny, but you got to laugh. You don't laugh, it's just cruel. But, I mean, he's big, he's strong, he's fast. He's not going to be easy to tackle, but they've got to be able to scheme him better opportunities. And we'll just see him go from there, because he's got to work on separation too. But that's the potential for him is still to be number 1. I expect him to finish safely inside the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
With those 3, maybe Doomsday can jump up, but he should be firmly in the top 5 at worst. But you're hoping top 3 or better.
Yeah, I think that's true for both talent and production. I do think 2025 is going to be a big step up for both. Like, you already alluded to. He bulked up over the offseason, and he already has that year's worth of experience, that year's worth of connection with Kyler under his belt. And I think that puts him in a much better position to have success in 2025. Yeah. And also, too, like, I think if Drew Petzing is a smart guy, I think he's going to want to get his star receiver involved early and often in games and let him establish like a rhythm there. Because he's simply too talented, and he flashed that so many times over the course of last season. So we'll see if he can ultimately put it together. But like the talent is still there. I think I would probably. I know Travis Hunter just got the Jacksonville, but if we're going in terms of like numbers, I would go probably Neighbors again, and then Brian Thomas, and then probably Marv as the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I mean, dude, just Thomas is insane. We've got to so give him so many more flowers than he's getting, and I feel like there's a group of people that give him flowers, but man, I feel like I do not hear him talked about consistently, and that was already a problem when he was at LSU because Malik Neighbors was so good. Everyone forgets he led the nation in touchdown catches. He had 17 or 18 touchdowns. So yeah, he's good. And he was just as good last year. I would tell you he was the best rookie receiver last year.
You can make a very serious argument that was the case. Absolutely.
I will.
Austin, friend of the podcast, drinking his favorite energy drink right now. Shout out to you. Who is your guy in fantasy this year? Are you drinking it? You are slurring your words, actually, Richie. You want to follow my you're coming with me,
Tuesday. Spell fire truck. He's good. Get him back out there.
Fun little side story, really, really quick. My sophomore year
up and moving
school football. My sophomore year of high school football, before I moved out here back in Kentucky, our quarterback got hit in the head during a playoff game, and I was on the sideline right next to him whenever they were giving him a concussion test, and they were like, "Hey, what's the colors of the rainbow?" This dude goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Rich, they're like, "Yep, he's good. Get him back out there." And I'm like, "Yo, we are not doing this right now." Anyways, taking into account ADP for Cardinals fantasy football players in 2025. Oh, man.
It's still James Conner.
It is. It is because I don't think I think Trey Benson is going to get a few more touches per game. I do think they are going to make a honest effort to try to keep James Conner healthy, especially after extending him on his contract. He's still the workhorse. He's still the bell cow. He's still a good pass catcher. Like, he's a 3-down running back. And until further noticed, he's still undisputedly the guy.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's a question.
No.
Because you're getting him in that 10 to 15 range, maybe even lower, because he is 30 years old now.
Yeah.
And you're still getting yourself 1,000 scrimmage yards and close to double-digit touchdowns. He commands that backfield until further notice. And this is going to be a good offense, and it's a run-heavy offense. He's going to get his opportunities and everything. So, especially if you're looking at ADP, because Trey McBride is probably tight end 2, tight end 3 at worst. Yep. He can live up to it, yes. Yep, but he's not scoring touchdowns, which hurts that value a little bit. Marvin Harrison Jr., I don't know where his value is right now, but I can tell you if he repeats what he did last year, that's not living up to his value. Kyler Murray, I don't know where he is now, but I don't see a lot of scenarios unless he turns into a massive dynamic runner and stops turning the football over that he's going to live up to his value. Cardinals defense, I'm that person. Stream your defenses in fantasy football. Stream defenses. Do not commit to one. Cardinals have a good matchup this week. Perfect. I'll take them. They have a bad matchup next week. I'll drop them. So if you are looking for best fantasy player on the Cardinals by ADP, I do not think it's remotely a discussion. I think it's open shut. It's James Conner.
I will say, based off of that, absolutely. If we're looking at handcuffs, I do think Benson is a quality guy. If you're that kind of person who later in drafts looks to target handcuffs, I do think he's the guy to monitor for sure.
I also want to know how the nursery home is doing if you still draft handcuffs. I'm sure you also play with team quarterback and not and not regular quarterback.
As a Christian McCaffrey owner, I think I've learned more than anybody handcuffs are very important. It's when the handcuff to the handcuff has to start for the 49ers because those guys cannot stay healthy.
Isaac Guerrero, and then he got injured.
Yep.
Thanks, Isaac. That's exactly what we talked about.
And then Jordan Mason gets plugged into the lineup, and then he's like, "Oh, like, I was told on Friday that Christian McCaffrey wasn't playing, and I would be the starter." And then Kyle Shanahan's like, "Yo, what are you doing, bro? Like, you were not supposed to say that." Kiz at Cardinals New Era. Thank you for the question, brother. Shout out to you. Do you think we might get Scary Terry?
No.
It is a phenomenal trade to think about. I think it makes so much sense for so many different reasons, Richie. Realistically, that's not going to happen. Like Washington is not going to trade him. And
but even if they do, I don't
think
think the Cardinals are the team to make that move.
I don't think they're Terry McLaurin away. You can make an argument that like they do need an upgraded weapon on the offensive side of the ball, and that's where I'm coming from. Whereas, like, if we're looking to make a move, I think Scary Terry would be phenomenal. But I don't think the Cardinals at this point in time would explore something like that.
No, I don't either. And I just don't it doesn't feel like a Cardinals move for me. We've seen that Monty can be aggressive, but he's not aggressive when it comes to hauling out major contracts. And that's the biggest reason that Terry wants out right now, or allegedly wants out, is because he's not getting that payday that he wants and deserves. And the Cardinals don't feel like the team is going to do that, especially when they just sunk a 4th overall pick into a receiver to be their number one guy. I just don't foresee that being the case. And Terry is closing in on 30. I don't know. I just don't see it. If Terry moves, first of all, I think it's to the AFC. Second of all, I think it is to a contender like Denver or the Chargers or the Bills. Or who knows, maybe Cleveland.
Buffalo, man.
Yeah, that'd be disgusting. Or maybe Cleveland says, "Hey, we got a bunch of picks. We'll throw it at you." And then, we'll set up Cade Klubnik next year really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, I would love for McLaurin to land in Arizona. That would be so fun. I think that gives Kyler another weapon. So looking at it realistically, it'd be so tough to pull that off. So nice to think about, but probably won't happen, which I think you could say for a lot of
Sorry
things.
to be a wet blanket, brother.
Yeah, I know. I hate being that guy, but it kind of is what it is. Last question of the show belongs to Dr. Oreos. On either side of the ball, do you see anyone who could be considered a surprise cut, and why? I think I know your answer. Jonah Williams?
Yes, that would be my go-to answer, but I don't want to keep using him over and over again. I'll let you go first. I want to think about this.
Surprise cut.
Trey McBride.
All right, buddy.
That's a Clayton Kershaw curveball combined with a Randy Johnson slider.
That's a Paul Skeens splinker, is what that is.
And a Mariano Rivera fastball. Rivera, excuse me.
I don't think there's a lot of wiggle room for quote unquote like surprise cuts, but like if we're looking at just like maybe veterans who can land that way. You highlighted them earlier in the show, guys like Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols. They're really going to have to make a push with all of the other new guys that have entered the room. I don't think Jalen Thompson's that guy. I don't see any of like the starters on offense being cut. So like it really, I feel like our options are limited. The big free agents they signed to a few years ago, Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols on the defensive side of the line. That's kind of where I'm thinking right now.
Calais could be an option if he wasn't a fan favorite, because it's a 1-year deal and he's almost 40 years old. But he's a fan favorite, and he's still right. No, that's I hear you. But if he came out and he was horrible, like you could just tell that he's not himself, he would be a cut candidate. But he's a Cardinals legend. You're not cutting him.
That's fair.
So that's the bottom line there. That would have been if Calais Campbell was with the Las Vegas Raiders, he could be a cut candidate for them. If he was with the New Orleans Saints. He could be a cut candidate.
They might need him to play quarterback week 1. We'll see. I think if even if the talent wasn't there for Calais, I just think that the veteran leadership that he brings and the very young Cardinals defensive line room and like edge rushing room, like I think that's so valuable to where like if Campbell just was for whatever reason the biggest dud on the planet come training camp, I still think you keep him around.
Yeah, well, you know what, Donnie? That wasn't the question. The question was surprise, and I gave you a surprise.
Ooh.
I'm trying to think. Maybe
there's not a lot of those guys, man. Not with how this roster is constructed.
No.
So
no, I don't see it, because if you're looking for me to make a surprise, like I just see ways that it doesn't make sense. Like Owen Papel, maybe, but I mean, I also don't know if you would justify that as a surprise. BJ Ojulari, they're not moving on from him. Jonah Williams, yeah, that would be a massive surprise. It's probably not going to happen. Tip Ryman would be a surprise. I don't know that it happens. I don't know that anyone would be surprised with any running back unless it was Benson or Connor, but they're both untouchable. I don't think anyone is going, holy cow, they cut Imari DiMercado or anything like that.
Yeah, or Michael Carter. Yeah.
Right. Or DJ Dallas. Jacoby Brissett would be a jaw dropper, but I also don't see Brissett getting cut. So, like, I can name someone and then I can go, I just don't really see it happening.
That's fair. Yeah.
So
it's tough, man, but it's also like a good spot for the Cardinals to be in too, to where like you have so many solidified guys to where like there's not too many question marks heading into 2025. I think that's a really good thing.
I think that defensive line is going to get chopped up a bit because there's a lot of guys on there right now. Like the Tennessee kid, undrafted, is getting a lot of love. So we may not see Nichols, Jones, Collier may not make the team, and they just re-signed him. That'd be a surprise for me. So
yeah, no, that is true. And like Collier, like when he's healthy, like he's a solid player too.
I like him. He's a very good role player for the team. I was a fan of that re-signing.
Do you have anything else before we get out of here, man? Hello, sir. Richie Bradshaw.
I don't have anything else. You ask a question, I got nothing.
You know how a conversation works? All two people who watched the entire episode, they're so disappointed in you.
Me?
Yeah.
I wasn't here the whole time. Who'd you leave him with? Your people? Assuming, of course, they are still your people and not Maroney's.
Don't bully me. I will. Let's get out of here. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in.
I know where your family lives, and that means you work for me until I say you're done.
What are you quoting?
Also, you just destroyed my desk. You got to pay for that. That's imported Italian maple.
What are you quoting? All right, we're both delirious. Let's get out of here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Cardinals on SI podcast. Follow Richie on Twitter at RichieBrads36. It's Mountain Dew, everybody. I spoiled it. It's Mountain Dew is what he's drinking. Follow me on Twitter at Donnie Druin. You can boo me. I'm still right. We'll see you guys next week. Training camp football is here for the Arizona Cardinals. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. We'll catch you guys on the flip side.